everyone out there listening today, Allie and I are going to touch base on just like how to create a vision and just some of the things that have worked for us and what we've learned. Really, I don't know, some of this stuff is stuff that I've just learned in the past year or so, because it's a growing process, right? Like making goals, and some you accomplish, some you don't, some you have to change along the way. And I don't know about you, Allie, but some of the hardest parts that I've had in making goals is having like a long-term vision in there, and like not a dream, like kind of a dream, but also something that can be attainable but feels almost like impossible. That's how I visualize a vision, where it's like it's bigger than right now, right? It's so much bigger.
Right.
And it might be like my husband and I's is 10 years from now, which seems like so far. And I think it's hard for people to look that far ahead. But just like being able to set that vision and then make your smaller goals align with how, like, today, what you're deciding today, how is that going to help me reach that like long-term vision? How do you usually think of the future? Can you think 10 years ahead?
So I can, yes, and that's probably my biggest issue, or I guess not biggest issue, but that's where I kind of fall short sometimes, is because I'm always looking so far ahead instead of like here and now. And what am I doing here now to get me to my vision 10 years ahead?
Yeah.
And I've always been like that. Like even since a little girl, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be a mom. It's like, all right, well, girlfriend, like let's think of something nice for me to do, you know what I mean? You know? So
Yeah.
yeah, I've always been like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my husband is really good at like setting that long-term goal, where I'm more of in like not necessarily the right now, but like the week, because like as moms,
Hmm.
we like run the household pretty much, at least for the
Yeah.
most part, right? And I feel like I have so much going on in my brain, and I also have a very distracted brain, that sometimes it's
Hmm.
really hard for me to imagine past like next month, where I'm like, I have so much I got to focus on right now in order to like get everything organized and get through and be able to show up for all the things this month, that I
Yeah.
can't really think that far. Um, but he's helped me to see that vision and like be on the same page, like together with that vision, and like build this vision
Yeah.
together, even if our days look like completely different. And I think that's the case for a lot of moms, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, or a working mom. I feel like, of course, you have to be on the same page with your partner if you have a partner, but it's okay to have different goals within your days and years, to reach that 10-year goal.
Right. Like, Tom and I, very similar too. We have a great outlook of exactly how we want to live our lives, and like what we see for our kids in the future and what we see for ourselves in the future and all the things. But we both unfortunately fall short in like coming up with the small term goals. He's much better at seeing the small term goals than I am.
Mm.
Much, much better at that stuff than I am. But still, I feel like sometimes we're you know, focusing on here and now, I'm like, well, we need to get through this exactly like you said,
Mm.
and then we could focus on the bigger thing.
Yeah.
But overall, he's very much like, well, is this getting us to this point? Like a parenting decision. Like, is this going to show, whatever we're trying to teach in the moment? Like, should we be
Yeah.
doing this, or should we switch gears and like see where we want her, whatever, to uh have this lesson. And so he's much better at doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
that's like having a
thing,
partner, it's so important to like balance each other out like that.
yeah,
Because if one is better at something than the other, that's okay, because you're kind of like working on it together and balance each other out.
for sure.
Yeah. So the book, Allie and I were talking about, if you caught the very beginning, so we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's, I struggle with his last name, Schwarzenegger's book, Be Useful. He gives 7 tools, but it's really, he talks a lot about vision, and that's why I highly recommend it. It's like a really easy read, and so much just great advice. And this guy like seriously came from nowhere. I don't know how far you into the book, Allie, but I had no idea. And it's just really, really inspiring. Because, even when he became governor, I'm like, why in the world is he going for governor? But like, he had this planned. Like, it's so wild. So definitely read the book. But point is, he talks about setting a vision, and it really, really helped me. Because, like, first of all, he says, never think small. And like I said, if you're thinking in the long term, it should be something that like isn't just super easily attainable. It needs to be
Yeah,
something that it's going to motivate you when you are deciding in your day to day, like, does this align with my goal? It needs to be big enough that you want to keep going, right? So
sure.
I don't know, maybe it can't be 10 years. Like I would do something realistic to you. Like 10 years is for my husband and I. And it helps me kind of like think now, like, okay, so what's my 1 year goal towards that? What's my 3 year goal? And then like what's my 5 year goal to get to this like really big goal? And also
Hmm.
I think like talking to your partner too, like what can we do together to like really help like get us to that goal too? Like how are you working together? Um
Right.
and we do like the goal that we have it. I mean, we have three actually within our 10 year plan. And it does kind of seem impossible, but I know we can actually do it. And like, obviously, God can do the impossible, right? But
Hmm.
um, I think like having that vision for yourself and like Arnold Schwarzenegger says it in the book, like you have to actually like visualize it. Like, you know me, I like vision boards and stuff like that, but like
Hmm.
you have
Yes.
to have it so clear in your head and like so repetitive because like this has to be something that's like second nature to you if you really want it to come true because you have to put it out there, right? For like the universe to be
Right.
able to bring it to you or like God to bring it to you.
Hmm.
So I don't know. What do you think, Allie? Like, how do you go about your vision and like getting that set up?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we plan about it. I plan about it. I know Kyle does too, but prayer is huge. And I am always asking, like, God, if this is like your plan, then please just let it happen. Like, I would put in the work, but I need you to open the doors for me to put in that work.
Mm,
And I need very specific, like, I need you to just show me exactly what I am supposed
mm,
to be doing.
yeah.
Um, and for the most part, the things I really truly want and pray about, he really has opened the door in every step of the way. Um, and when I truly put my mind to something, if I truly want it, I will go get it. And there is
Mm,
absolutely no stopping me.
yeah.
And so I have read hundreds of self-help books. So the things that are in this book, I'm really into it. And actually, you can listen to it on Spotify for free for people who have Spotify. Um, he is very direct, very, very easy, attainable things so far, and I love that. And they align with other other books that I've read too, for the most part. You
Mm,
know, it's like you have your big vision, and then you break it down
yeah.
into the small, attainable things
Hmm.
to reach them.
Yeah.
Um, and so I feel like praying first, and then um, just doing the things that God just shows me to do. And then
Yeah.
just praying to keep doing those things He has showed me to do. Because it's easy to say, but it's not easy to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think like for me, like I love to create the vision with my husband and like have it really strong and like right in my mind. But like you said with prayer, you know, of course, like I pray on my goals and my vision every single day. And it's like we plan, right? I know there's a Bible verse. We just went over it, I think, in church. And it's like we
Yeah,
plan, but God's plan is really, He has the ultimate decision in what's going to happen.
yeah.
And really just being open to letting Him guide me toward that vision, wherever that takes me, you know, whether it's a winding
Mhm.
path through hills and valleys and whatever.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
being completely like open to this is what I want, and I know it something along these lines will happen, but like I don't know what's going to happen along the way in God's plan for me. So
No.
yeah, definitely
Do
prayer
you
is
find
huge.
it freeing that she's in control, or do you find it a little scary?
I mean, both. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
terrified all the time. Like,
Are
especially with goals. I'm like, oh my God, this is so scary. But they say, like, if it's not scary, then what in the world are you even like working for? Right. So,
100%. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm scared all the time. But it's like, I mean, I was just writing down the verse this morning, like, be not afraid. Your Lord, your God is always with you. And it is so true. It doesn't mean I'm not going to feel afraid, but I definitely have faith, you know, that He's going to put me where I'm supposed to be and, you know, do what He needs to
Oh,
do. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean the book. You said it's for free on Spotify.
you
Oh,
can listen to it.
nice.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because I read it and yeah, I would like to listen to it too. Because there's definitely things I feel like you could reread and like learn something from.
It's
Um,
definitely a book that if you're a note taker, definitely either do it on Kindle or get the book because there are several times I was listening to it. I was like, well, dang, I need to underline that.
yeah.
I'm usually a really big like physical book or on a Kindle. And so I'm a note taker. I like having people like for journaling, prayers, like all the
Yeah.
things. That's how I still do it. And so there were a few times where I was like cooking or cleaning or taking care of the kids and listening. And I was like, "Dang, that's so good. I need to remember exactly what I need so I could go back and write it down sometime." Um, but he does say a lot of, good, useful things. And I mean, I don't know, so I'm excited to finish it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
no, the book is so good, and like I said, definitely recommend it. And I mean, I don't know, I guess we can kind of like, so how I break down my goals, because I find goals overwhelming. Like my husband gets his done in like November, and in December I'm like still procrastinating. And then once I start, it's great. But like how I break them
mhm,
down, I learned from my mentor Brian Johnson, who like when I went through his course. So he does his as he labels them work, energy, and love, and then you kind of break down your goals into like those categories, because
mhm,
we all have a work or a purpose, right? Whether you're stay-at-home mom taking care of your children, or you have a job, a business, anything like that. Your energy would be your health, right? Or what motivates you, what inspires you, like what makes you feel good. And then love obviously is family, friends, church, God, all that stuff that's like important to
mhm.
you. So that like really helps me break it down, instead of just being like, all right, what's my goals? And I'm like looking at a piece
Yeah,
of paper and like, this is too overwhelming for me. I have no idea. Like, I know I have stuff I want to accomplish, but where
yeah,
do I even start? So that
yeah,
helps me like break it down. And it also isn't just like, especially like with energy, I know a lot of times around January, everyone's like, I want to lose weight, I want to do this and that. But it's like, all right, what's going to actually like, what's making you feel good? What's going to benefit your energy,
mhm,
where you are going to want to accomplish your work goals and, your love goals? What works for you,
yeah.
Allie?
So I use the Start Today journal. It's by Rachel Hollis. Have you heard of her?
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, love Rach. So I've bought like three months. And so you have 10 months and you write. Well, first you start the journal by writing just everything that you want to accomplish that comes to your brain, and you just write it down. And then once you get into the journal day by day, it's your five top goals that you want to accomplish in the short term. And so when you write them as if they happened, like I ran a mile today, or I eat super clean today, whatever your goals are. And then underneath is the 10 goals. So those are like your more long term goals. And you write those as if you have accomplished those as well.
Mm.
Like I own a lake, whatever those are.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once you accomplish that every single day, and then you write what I'm grateful for. So five things that you're grateful for
Okay.
at the bottom. And then every single day, you continue and you write down the same exact things.
Mm.
If you do accomplish something in the five, even the 10, um, that keep it off, you move one from your 10 up to your five, and then you put another goal that you had in your like long journal entry in the beginning. And then you just keep going. And it's wild because if you do get, if you stick with it and you get more Start Today journals and you do it long term, like I've been doing it for years,
Mm.
um, it's wild to see like you wrote down stuff for 5 months that are the exact same and nothing changed. And then all of a sudden it's like two of your five goals are gone and you got to move some. It's so cool to see
Yeah.
that happen. And like you said, so attainable, and you just see it and you're like, all right. And then you also start with your gratefulness and your gratitude. And I think that's huge. And
Yeah.
it could be something small like my coffee was amazing or the sun is out.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something, huge like I got that bonus at work, or my kids did whatever, something
Yeah.
like that. So it's just so nice to start the morning in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. And it's been scientifically proven too, if you write down your goals, you're 40% more likely to achieve them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about it in the book too. He like actually gives us a specific way of how to write it down. Like I own a lake house type of thing. He puts it
Mhm.
down on how like politicians are like introduced, because they introduce them in a way like even if they haven't won the election already, they introduce them like as they have. It's very, very
Mhm.
interesting. And that was something that I didn't write a note, Allie, and I was like, I couldn't go find it yet back in the book, so I have to like go
Yeah.
through and find it again because I want to
Are you
write
a note
down.
taker?
Yeah, I mean, usually I
Yeah.
do, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like reading and I didn't have any paper or anything with me, so I just
Yeah.
didn't write it down. But it caught my eye because I'm a big journaler, and I definitely write down my goals every single day. But if there's a better way for me to be like, this is what I like, this is what I want to accomplish. How do I write this down to make this happen? Type of thing. I
Hmm.
mean, that's super, super helpful. So I'll have to find it.
Yeah.
I'll have to update on that one.
All right.
Because I'm like, I need to go
I'll
back
send
and
you
like
the Rachel. Yeah,
underline it.
I'll send you the Rachel Hollis thing because she
Yeah.
has like a whole probably podcast episode as well. I've heard that whole thing as to why you do that and
Yeah.
why you say like
Yeah.
I am a marathoner, whatever. Like she has this whole thing about it.
Yeah.
So I find it super interesting.
Yeah, she's awesome. I do like her stuff. I've never ordered one of her journals, but I like her books a lot. I mean, I can
Hmm.
definitely link the website too below to find the Start Today ones. I think you can get them on Amazon too, right?
I ordered them straight from like her link, but
Okay.
I'm sure you probably
Yeah.
can. I mean, they're pretty popular.
Yeah, and if you're new to journaling, I mean, there are seriously like prompted journals on Amazon.
Yeah.
There's Christian ones, there's non-Christian ones, there's ones like grateful ones. To
Hmm.
really just get started because I mean, I journal every single day, sometimes twice a day, and I feel like
Hmm.
it's just such a great way to not only write down your goals, but really just to get your thoughts out and to be able to kind of analyze like what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're like me, where there's like a million things going on in my head at one time.
Same.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still not back into like non-holiday mode yet. Like
Hmm.
my daughter went back to school Thursday, but I'm like, where's my brain? Like I'm not back yet. I thought Wednesday was Saturday. And then I thought Thursday was Friday. I'm such a mess. Monday is a new day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think
So, what are
like
the biggest takeaways from this book? Like,
what
what was your biggest takeaway from this book? Like, what did you learn
I
that you
think
didn't
like
know?
one of my favorite things was again just like how to connect now to like that long-term vision. So like it really resonates with me to be like, all right, so I'm going to go watch this movie, but watching this movie, does that align with what I'm trying to achieve? You know, like could I be do something else like to get me closer to my goal, or like
Hmm.
shopping, right? We all love to shop. Like is this designer bag going to get me closer to my financial goal 10 years from now? Like, no, probably not, right? So just really like
Hmm.
connecting the dots from how important it is, all the decisions we make now. It's like the same thing with health, right? Like what you put into
Hmm.
your body now is going to matter 10 years from now. We don't really think of it like that because we're like, oh, well, 10 years is so far away. But hey, it actually does matter. So just like connecting
Hmm.
everything to today and like whatever I'm doing matters. And it's not saying like I have to be perfect. Obviously, I'm going to mess up, but like I can like jump back tomorrow and be like, all right, I'm back focused. I have my goals right in front of me.
Hmm.
You know, I know that what I'm doing today is going to matter. And I feel like what he said with that, like, and how he questioned, like, he even gave an example of, like, because he was a bodybuilder, right? So, like,
Hmm.
he went into the I think Mr. Olympia competition or something, some big huge competition, and he lost. And he was like, well, he looked back on the weekend and he's like, well, I was traveling from Austria, like I didn't eat right. You could see that when I was on the stage. So like how just have everything aligns with his goal was
Hmm.
to win Mr. Olympia, and I think he ended up winning 7 times, but he learned from that, right? So again, I'm not saying perfection. It's really just like
Right.
noticing that what we're doing actually matters for what we want to achieve for the future. So no matter what stage you're in, you know, in motherhood too, like whether you have an infant or whether your kids are older, you know, you can still have these really huge goals for yourself, and then just again
Hmm.
break it down, get a journal, break it down into what you need to do today. And that could be like feeding and clothing your child, or maybe doing something big at work, or maybe something small, you know, changing your health, or you know, changing your diet or whatnot. And I think that's just what resonated with me, I think, the most, because it helps me focus a little. I have a hard time focusing. Like I really have to like set myself up hardcore to be able to focus. So that just helps me kind of like make my tiny little choices really, really important in my daily life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because I think it's such a. I mean, everything. Like, if I have one too many cups of coffee, then it's like, now I'm feeling a little sluggish at the end of the day, or I can't sleep, or and it's like so little and done. Like, but it makes a big difference,
Yeah.
and it's was nice to know that you can make little changes that, um, I just thought to you, like, just don't drink that second cup of coffee
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, but it's nice to know, like, you are in control.
Yeah. I know it's not easy though. I mean, because of course, like we're
No.
like, well, why don't I have that glass of wine or that giant bowl of ice cream or something? But then that affects your sleep, and then like it's like a domino effect, or little stuff like that. It kind of,
Right.
I mean, that's why they say I think little stuff compounds over time. I don't know if you've read,
Mhm.
I think it's Darren Hardy. He has a really good book. A whole other story, but like just like little stuff matters. Like even like a penny, right? Like they compound a penny
Mhm.
over time because no one even keeps their pennies, right? But it's like
Right.
pennies actually compound like over time. They actually make a lot of
Yeah.
money. So it's like the little
Yes.
things do matter. Yeah. So
I love
goal
it.
wise, like, are you guys set with your goals for the year? Like you're done?
So I have been journaling them, and um, I don't know how to say that I am, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not. Like I have a word for the year, and my word this year is grounded. Like I just want to be grounded in everything that I do. I want to have peace and joy and just feel, you know, just good and just like where I'm supposed to be. And then, but when I think about that word, to me, it's like, it seems like a simple word, but when I really think about it and when I journal it, it's like, geez, there's so much that is going into making me feel grounded. Like
Mm,
everything around me, like I'm like, all right, well, now I need to organize and blah, blah, blah. So now I need to break that down. Like, how I'm going to organize, like,
yeah.
so I'm fully, but oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, even like when you wrote down grounded, you probably didn't think how complicated that is, right? To
Right.
like make that
I
happen.
know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, how do I feel this year? And then I prayed about it and it just kept coming to me over and over and over again. And I was like, all right, well, apparently that is my word for 2025. And so, because I always come up with a word, I always have a
Yeah. I
word
love
for the
that.
year. And this one is hard. It's like to me to feel grounded, it just seems like like a lot of work needs to be done.
Yeah.
Um, which doesn't even scare me, but it's that like breaking it down to attainable
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm working on that. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm done. And I like we're like total nerds and go over our goals New
I
Year's Eve and
love
like make
that.
vision boards. And it was
I
really fun this
love,
year. I know I need to like post a picture of our vision boards. It's kind of funny because like
yeah.
Willis and I are just total opposites, but same vision, different vision
Just
boards.
mindset.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. But no, yeah, we always have them done. Even like I had such a proud parent moment because Gray like brought some schoolwork home on Friday and they did New Year's resolutions and she has this goal to read all the Harry Potter books this year. And I knew that because we talked about it on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But she broke it down. She was like, first I
Oh
need to
my
get the book,
gosh.
and then I need to read a chapter a day, and then I need to like blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god, like because it's like how many times do kids see us do the same thing over and over again, or we tell them the same
Yeah.
thing, and it's like you don't see anything happen, right? And then like now she broke it down and no one told her like how to do
Yeah.
that. She just like
Oh,
did
I
it
love
on her
that.
own and like made it into like
Yeah.
a sustainable habit that like throughout the year she'll be able to read all the Harry Potter
Accomplish
books.
it.
And
Oh my
yeah, so it's
gosh.
just really cute. And I think like doing it with your kids and even if they're little, just knowing that like mom
Mhm.
and dad have goals and it's nice to like accomplish that or have something to look forward to and accomplish and have a purpose, right? Like that you get
Yeah.
to work for. I mean, I don't know, like when you were a kid, I don't know how you felt, but like I obviously my parents had goals, but like no one ever explained to me like what it
No.
meant. And I think like going into this year, like Gray kind of felt that way. So I was like, well, let's talk about it. Let's like write it down and like I can give you an example because she's like she got nervous about it. I could tell she felt uncomfortable. And it's like if you don't understand it and it's so unknown to you, then you don't want to do it, right? But if someone like really,
Right.
really explains it, even like us putting this out there today, like I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with goals, and it's
For
scary.
sure.
Or like they feel like they don't have anything to work for, right? And like you really do need
Mhm.
that purpose to be able to work for it. So like just understanding goals and like whether it's breaking it down for your kids or even like talking to someone about like a counselor or, you know, someone to help you understand maybe like, or find your goals. Maybe you have no idea what you
Yeah.
want to do, helping to
Yeah.
understand yourself and like what you want to do in the future. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I know like when I first had Gray, you know, like in the postpartum period, you almost like don't even, you can't see past that day, right? Because like it's just like
Yeah.
there's so much going on. So just like finding your purpose, you know, within those moments, and then looking ahead to see like what you have to look forward to and what you want to accomplish.
For sure. I love that. And, you know, that is a great point because Gray's a little bit older than my kids. So my daughter is 6, almost 7. You got a 4-year-old and then 18-month-old. And some days or some moments, it's like, holy, like I can't. I'm lucky if I could get the dishes done. Like I
Yeah.
posted something on Facebook the other day, like, does anyone need some chaos? Like we've had pets on the table trying to torment me, and she's just trying to figure it. The baby's just making a mess of the room. I'm trying to do the dishes. Like my dog's barking, and I'm like, oh Lord, have mercy. Like, what is this
Yeah.
life? And then, you know, once I go to bed and I'm like reflecting on my day,
Yeah.
it is easy to go back for me and be like, "All right, the bigger picture and stuff like that." But
Yeah.
in those moments, everything's like, I'm
Right.
just like, I need to survive.
Right.
Like, I need to
Right.
survive. But then luckily, once they're like, things are calmed down and they're in bed, and I'm like, all right, it wasn't that bad. Like, we're going to just move on and
Yeah.
everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a
Well, I think
lot.
like what you said of being grounded and like, you know, you are in that season of life where it's so, so crazy at home, and just like having that goal of being grounded and being there for your children, like that, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be such a crazy, crazy goal. You know, those small goals could be, I want to make dinner every week for my kids, or I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to lose my mind and like freak out. I don't know. It can be
Sure.
anything, right? So it really just depends like what season of life you're in or you're
Mm-hmm.
going into, or, you know, and it could change, like we said. So yeah, just being
Yeah.
completely open and just like having these big dreams for ourselves. I think it's so important. I know
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Hollis talks about that a lot too. And,
Yes.
you know, I don't know why she keeps coming up, but she has 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, she's written books and like she's a speaker and she has all this stuff. So it's like just like surrounding yourself with this like knowledge and wisdom and like being open to learning. That was another thing that was in the
Mm-hmm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger book too. Just like stop talking so much and start listening more to everyone around you. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've been trying to do that more with my daughter too. Like just listen, and you can learn so much just from everybody around
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
good.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited for everyone in 2025. I mean, there's something about the new year and like a fresh start, right? Like I know like
Mm-hmm.
nothing really
I love it.
changed, right? Like I don't,
I
that's why I
know.
don't like celebrate New Year's Eve. I mean, I used to obviously in my younger years. But I don't know, it's just another day. It's like Gray's like, "Let's stay up
Yeah.
for the ball dropping." And I'm like, "It's just a ball. Tomorrow's just another
Mm-hmm.
day." But there's something to say about like a new year.
Yeah.
It's
It
like,
does. There is something about it. It just does feel like the weight is lifted. Like I could start
yeah, it's a
again.
clean start. Yeah.
Yeah, which again, bringing it back to Rachel Hollis, they start 50 days or 60 days, maybe even 90 days, I don't know, before the new year.
Mm.
Like, let's finish the year off so strong. And
Yeah.
like, we're not going to wait until the first.
Yeah.
And I've tried that in the past and I love it. And there's something to be said. But there's also, like, realistically, during the holiday season, it can be so stressful. And if you're the one who's hosting and planning and buying all the presents for other people, I mean, it wasn't until, I mean, the day before Christmas Eve, I wrapped presents. So,
Yeah.
you know, like sometimes it just seems impossible to do that. And
Yeah.
so, like, this year, I did not have a good, like, end like I've had in the past. So this year, I was like, on the first, we're starting. Like, and it does feel so good to wake up
Mm.
and be like, all right, today's the day,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think consistency definitely goes a long way. But yeah, I mean, December is such a busy month. Full
Yeah.
of so much fun, right?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's a lot to take in, especially as a parent. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like regular life and then all the fun stuff, you know, on top of that.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that. Staying strong. I mean, I'm a firm believer, like I said, consistency all year round. But it's still like, I feel like setting those new goals really helps you like go into the new year with like a clean slate, right? You take what you learned and like you create something new, and then
Yeah,
you'll have plenty to learn, you know, by next year.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, or correct like certain things. Like I have like last year was one of my hardest years, I feel like, just with a lot of different stuff, but there's so many things that like I want to take from that. Like last year at this time I was in a completely different place. And when you actually look back, it's crazy how far you've come, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure you can look back, like you had just said, Waylon, right? Like, I mean, she was just an infant then. So, like, how far you have come since then. So, definitely reflect too. And I think that's a big part of journaling too. Just reflect, like, and be so grateful, even if, like, it wasn't a great year for you or if you're still in a bad spot. Like, think of all the things that you did accomplish and, like, how much more you can do by taking that and going into the new year with it.
For sure. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We have some really cool interviews coming up. Kayla from FitFilled is going to kind of kick us off. She's going to help us with our nutrition goals for the year.
Love that.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited. She's so awesome. And her stepdad are just like my favorite dietitians for sure. But yeah, because obviously we all do want to be healthier, right? And happier. So yeah, tune in next week for her. And yeah, we'll see you guys then.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Allie. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Megan. All right, bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.